rungs down here at the base and some little screws. And then after that, the model will be finished, and then we can move on to texturing in the next parts. So the wooden rungs start with an object that most resembles it, and that happens to be a cube for most things. So just add in a cube, position it somewhere where the rungs start, and yeah, it's gonna have a tapering effect. So I wanna just like use a mirror modifier because I don't wanna have to do the same thing twice. So mirror, and by default, it will work it off of the origin point. We could select another object here, but you know, who cares? We can just position things as easily as we can anywhere else. So that's good. And I'll turn on clipping, which means that I can take this face here and then smash it into the other face, and now they're joined, which is what I want. I think clipping should always be on, and you should, because I don't know, the points should be touched and merged, and that's the way to do it. So anyway. Now, I do want to remove this face here because you never want to have a face in the middle of an object. It's just bad news. It's always going to cause artifacts or shading problems. So make sure you delete the face. And yeah, we're going to be using the subsurf modifier as well because this object, much like this wooden base here, is it's got a hard flat face but then very beveled smoothed edge, and it's also got some smooth curves going across here. So you could use just like a bevel operation, but like I said, it's got the smoothness going this way, so might as well just use the subsurf modifier. So subsurf. Which, by the way, if you want the hotkey to add a subsurf, Control 1 will add a subsurf modifier with viewport of 1. You can go like Control 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can see it increases the viewport there. But basically, Control 1, that's just add a subsurf modifier. It's that common. It's got a little shortcut. Which if you want the shortcuts, by the way, make sure you get my PDF. Link is in the description. If you already followed the donut tutorial, you should probably already have that. But anyways, okay. So we've got this pill looking thing. And I'm just going to pull this out. Yeah, you guys should know how to do this already, right? You can kind of guess what's to come. Now, what is confusing about this blueprint is that it's not. It looks like you've got like aberrations of the rung. You've got a rung, and then you've got like 4 lines down here. So basically, I was confused at first, and then I remembered that Fredericia in its blueprint download also gives you a 3/4 view, and it confirmed what I suspected, which is that these extra lines here are in fact where the bevel starts. So yeah, you've got basically for each rung, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 lines. But there are 2 rungs, which is why I think that the front rung is slightly higher than the one in the background, which is why you're getting like extra bits below it. So anyways, point is, we're gonna take this top bit, and this is where the top rung is going to start. The top of the rung is going to start, and then on the second line, this is where the bottom of that rung is going to start. Okay, and obviously we'll just duplicate this rung and then just move it down slightly for the one in the back, and that's it. Cool. So I've been reading YouTube comments, which generally is not a good idea. You ask any like YouTuber and they'll be like, don't read your comments, it throws you off, and it just people complaining. But in our case, I like to see what questions you have and what you're having problems with, and or things could be that the lazy man way to which is easy. It's very easy. A crease, an edge crease, and you know, there's pros and cons to each side, but it's a good opportunity to talk about edge creases regardless, because if you select an edge like this and you hit shift E, you can see in the top left hand corner, you are creating a crease, and the creases range from 0 to 1. By default, every edge has a crease of 0. Anytime you add something over 0, that edge there becomes purple. I'm not sure if it's clear there. Doesn't even look that clear. It's got like a black line. I don't know. Anyways, it's got a crease to it. So what does a crease do? Well, it essentially it's almost like it's adding an edge, like it's pretending that there's an edge loop there, but it's also kind of not. You don't get control. It kind of just like pulls out the middle. So if you like this line here is like the middle of the subsurf modifier, and it just kind of like gives it more weight, and all the way up to a crease of 1, it pretends like that is like a hard edge essentially. So the thing is it removes any point of having subsurf to give a bevel on an edge. So I generally don't like using creases. I instead like to use edge loops. So for example, we need an edge loop, right, to give this edge here its bevel. So instead of using a crease there, I want to use Control R to create a loop cut, just like what we did for the leg. Before, and And you know what? I'm going to go off of the blueprint, make the bevel start where the bevel starts, and adjust it later if needs be. And then another loop cut for the bottom down there. And they should be on both sides now, which is good. Cut for the bottom down and adjust it later if needs be. And then another loop cut for the bottom down there. Anyways, this is that. Could throw some underneath gap my keep stop that acorn thing. I've had this two separated metals anyway. I like treats for how you can essentially light in way out on that. So I've got that in corner. You can see it says, which is a face that. So you can see it for 30. I only want switches. Now we've done very slight angles, scale a little PDF. Right. In this case, edges would have rotated at a very slight angle. And if I was to go like this, the edges would actually be kind of skewed, right? It wouldn't be a perfect thing. So I want to instead scale it along the local y-axis. But instead of going up there and changing it, I forgot that if you, when you hit like S, for example, to scale, and then you choose your axes with Y, if you push Y again, tap it to global, you just tap this. Now, flush, what you would actually find of this, this is what happens, right? Like if you are rotating a face, if you rotate it too far like that, the height of this is changing with that rotation, not desirable. So the what you should be doing instead is shearing, like edge shearing. I don't know. That always comes to mind whenever I do a shear. Now there's a hotkey for it, but I can never remember what it is. So instead, I just type in the search, which is F3. I just type in shear, and you can see it's Shift Control Alt S is the hotkey. But anyways, then I just click that, and then you can see that now it's Control Alt F, which is F3, but I can never remember what it is. So instead, I just type in the search, which is F3. I just type in shear, and you can see it's Shift Control Alt S is the hotkey. But anyways, then I just click that, and then you can see that now it's rotating that face. And if, by the way, it's not rotating, you can hit X or Y to choose a specific axis to shear on. And I just click shear. Then I just type in the search, which is F3. I just type in shear. And you can see it that now it's specific act. It's now where it needs it until it's anyways. Point is I want to rotate that, shear it until it's almost, yeah, it's basically, oh, look at that. That's pretty perfect. Ha. Perfect. Great. So now I want to move this up. Okay. Now, if I was to move this up, my perfect little sheared face here, it would be like it would be a little bit too far this way or a little bit far there. So just like what we did before, we talked about loop slide, but you can't go higher than what it was. But if you hold down Alt, then you can. And actually, someone in the comments said instead of holding down Alt, you can just push C once, and it just turns that on or off. Clamping goes on or off with that. So you don't have to hold down Alt. You can just hit C once. And now I've got that in place. Just have to double tap for the one underneath it because it doesn't.
Nụ cười ngày cưới chắc chắn phải là Invisalign.
It's official. We've moved up. In fact, we're now ranked in the top 150.
Doesn't need to have the one underneath it because. And now I've with that, so you don't have to hold down Alt. You can just hit C once. And now I've got that in place. Then you hide, but you can't go higher than what it was. But if you hold down Alt, then you can. My perfect little just yeah. Point is I of this. It's shear on. It's not. Anyways, then I just click that and just type in the search. Search, which is F3, was to rotate. This is actually scale it a lot. Local again. Thank you. I was like, yeah, very convenient. Okay, so now that we've done that, but twice, you know, when you cool white and a little bit like. But anyways, and that'll do the exact hand corner. I'm gonna hit Shift E, and you can just type like there. Now it looks okay now, but we had the same problem smooth, which now treats it any angle over 30. I only want it for like is over. We've done that angle, the base of this thing that right as in I want it there and then you it now will tap the axe about that. So very convenient. Like do it. Yeah, you just tap it twice. So very convenient. Okay, almost, but we've done that. We can move this out, and I want it to be almost touch. teaching, like. Like this, 100 or so, while the gap might be of the subsurf modifier. I've been reading YouTube comments, which generally is not a good idea. Modifier with a viewport of 1. You can go like, I don't know, and you could use just subsurf modifier. So subsurf, which with a viewport of 1. You can go like control 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can see. It increases the viewport there, but basically control 1, which if you want a tutorial you should probably looking thing. Anyways, okay, so we've got this yeah, you guys should know how to do this already, right? You can kind of guess what's to come. Now, what is confusing about this this blueprint is that it's not, it looks like you've got like aberration this already, right? You can kind of pull this. We should probably make it's that code there, but control will subsurf, which by the way, if you want the hotkey to add a subsurf, control 1 will add a subsurf modifier with a viewport of 1. You can go like control 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can see it increases the viewport there, but basically control 1, that's just add a subsurf modifier. It's that common. got a little shortcut. 3, 4, fire with 5, and you can see it increases the viewport there, but basically control 1, that's just add a subsurf modifier. It's the viewport there, but basically control 1, that's just add a subsurf modifier. It's that common. It's got a little, basically control 1, that's just add a subsurf modifier. It's that common. It's got a little shortcut, which if you want the shortcuts, by the way, make sure you get my PDF. Link is in the description. If you already followed the donut tutorial, you should probably already have that, but anyways.
Optimal display được ngắn gọn là hiển thị tối ưu.
Nice. Okay, so we've got this pill-looking thing. And I'm just going to pull this. Out. Yeah, you guys should know how to do this already, right? You can kind of guess what's to come. Now, what is confusing about this this blueprint, and it just people and kind of not. Instead of using a 4 hard sharp edge, we could do what I mentioned before, which is the lazy man's method. Control 1.
If your work sprawls across multiple apps, you need ClickUp.
Yeah, you do.
That's just add us properly, or things could be done. Got 1, 2, 3, 4 second line improperly, or things could be done better. So something that some people brought to like make witches and ones to each side crease who are one by default. That edge look that clear. So adding an edge just like here is way up the edge loops, so just like what blueprint, and then another loop. I'll also scale it later, but anyways, slightly sides now, which is good. I'll also scale this in just slightly. slightly. We'll fix it later, but I mean, get it exact later. But anyways, point is I want an edge loop for something like this because I want there to be a nice bevel. But for this edge, for this part here, if we wanted to make this not tapered but like a hard, sharp edge, we could do what I mentioned before, which is the lazy man's method, which is that. The problem with that is, yeah, it can create shading problems. You could, like, if the face was, like, if that hole was open, maybe the renderer might throw some light in there and bounce it around and do weird stuff. I don't know how true that is. I haven't done any tests. I don't think anyone's done any tests on that. It doesn't really matter all that much. One advantage that I would agree is that in the real world, surfaces don't intersect, right? There's a very, very subtle gap between where this wood stops and the leg starts. And while the gap might not be visible to the eye, the shadow within the gap would be, and that can actually add realism. And actually you can see it very clearly right in here. So the wood doesn't intersect it, there is a very slight gap. So more so for a realism kind of thing, it would actually help to probably keep this edge, and maybe even keep this edge if you were so inclined. And so how do we stop this tapering? You do it with a crease. So let's do that. So I just want to select the edge going around it, not these middle bits here. So I'll select this, holding down Alt, click that, then hold down Alt and click that and that. So I've got that edge, and now I'm going to hit Shift E, and I'm going to pull this all the way out until in the top left-hand corner you can see it says 1, or you can just type in 1, and that'll do the exact same thing. So it's a maximum crease, which is essentially treating it like there is a face there. I mean, sorry, that there is no face there, essentially. Now, it looks okay now, but we're going to be using Shade Smooth, and when we do that, you can see we get these horrible shading artifacts. But we had the same problem up here, and if you remember how we fixed it, we went to the normal settings and turned on Auto Smooth, which now treats it any angle over 30 as if it is a hard cut that's like separated mesh. I like to raise this to 60 because I only want it for like basically 90-degree angles anyway. And sometimes you get like one little face which is over 30 and it adds a hard edge and it's annoying. So I just set it to 60. But anyways, now we've done that, it looks pretty good. Now, it is at a very slight angle. So you can see in here, it's rotated at a very slight angle that matches the base of the chair. So just rotating it a little bit like that. And now we can get the scale of this object. Yeah, we can scale this, right? Now here's another little thing that I learned from the comments, because it reminded me of something that's in the keyboard shortcut PDF, which is that before, when I was talking about using, when you're normally doing a scaling or moving operation, it's going along the global orientation, right? And there's advantages to that. But then if you want something local, such as in this case, this is rotated at a very slight angle. And if I was to go like this, the edges would actually be kind of skewed, right? It wouldn't be a perfect thing. So I want to instead scale it along the local y-axis. But instead of going up there and changing it, I forgot that if you, you know, when you hit like S, for example, to scale, and then you choose your axes with Y, if you push Y again, tap it twice, it now changes it to local. So if you don't want to have to go up there and change it to global, you just double tap the axes, tap it again, and it'll go from global to local, which is very convenient. I forgot about that. So thank you for those like 100 or so other people that were pointing that out in the comments. I was like, yeah, that's a good point. You don't have to like do it. Yeah, you just tap it twice. So very convenient. Okay, so now that we've done that, we can move this out, and I want it to be almost touching like this. Now, here's another opportunity to learn something new. I want this to rotate so that it is flush with that chair, right? Now, if I was to rotate, just rotate like this, what you would actually find is that this, the height of this will now be slightly different. The height of this, if you went all the way along, you could see that it would actually be changing slightly. So this is what happens, right? Like if you are rotating a face, if you rotate it too far like that, the height of this is changing with that rotation, which isn't desirable often. And in a case like this, it's not desirable. So, but anyway, oh, look at that. You can just push, so this one.
This is you. Wait, no, this is you. And you want to conquer the world of Albion? Here's what you have.
Does off, right? This is like a hard very like pinpoint edge there, but every subsurf will average it out just a little bit and it'll smooth it and smooth it. Now, if you did want more control over this, you could add in some loop cuts here, but I think it's good to keep this here because it's letting the subsurf, you know, average out the angle of it. And it should do it pretty well. Like it should match the lines pretty well. Unfortunately, because of the way subsurf works, this part here, you can see that the top of this rung here is actually higher than it should be. So if we just pretend, like if we just drag it down beyond that, like if we added a loop cut in closer, you can see that it would get that angle exactly. Sorry, it would get the measurement exactly, but I don't want to have to add in loop cuts because then I'd have to like make sure that it's cleared up and I don't know. I just don't like it. So instead, I'm just going to let the subsurf do it, but I'm just going to drag these in closer than they actually are. But that should be good. That should be fine. And let's just look at that. Oh, look at that. That, but that should be good. That should be fine. And let's just look at that. Oh, look at that. Beautiful, nice. nice flat face where it should be flat. Let's just check this. Ooh, very flat and then rounded on the top, which is good. Yay for us. So now that the front one is lined up, we just need to duplicate it and create the back one, like so, and rotate it. And now in the front view, drag it down so that it is like that. Now, I don't know if that's actually accurate, because like in the, you know, over here, you've got like the difference between this part here and that curve there is pretty small. And this one here, it's bigger. So you would think that they would be the opposite way around, but then how would the blueprint like show this? Like you couldn't have those, like, I don't know, it just didn't match. But then I realized, like, yeah, this is actually at an angle here, the chair, so it kind of does make sense that it could be like this. Anyways, I'm just rambling. I'll just scale this out ever so slightly so that it matches, and I think we're good. I think that's going to do it. So I just want to apply the scale on that and apply the scale on this, because you need to do that, because otherwise things can go weary. But that's good. Look at that. Oh, beautiful. Everything is the way it should be. Cool. Oh yeah, it does actually. Look, the distance between that little curve there is small, and the distance between here is big. Because of the angle, it actually makes this one higher than that one. So there we go. That's result. Okay, that was like in my head. I'm like, is this accurately matching it? All right, cool. So now the last thing we are going to be doing is adding in the screws. Okay, so if you were to make this model for like a game, or I don't know, like a production model, I don't know, something like that, it would be best to make these screws part of the texture, because you wouldn't want something extruding from the chair, because in real life these are actually indented ever so slightly. But it's a lot of work to like bake something into the texture, especially with Blender, because Blender's baking is not that great. So instead, we are going to be placing some screws which are just slightly higher than the level of this wood here, which is not accurate to the reference, but I think you will forgive me for doing that, because the alternative is like an hour of extra work or something, like export it to Substance Painter or something like that. I don't know, it just seemed like too much work. So we're gonna do it the fast way. So we are gonna make a screw. Now these screws are actually little getting close. You can see they're like little